All right, we are live. Thanks for joining us, everyone. This is another edition of You, Me, and BTC. This is episode 245, another live Thursday night. Thanks for joining us. I got birds because why not? I don't know. We got birds with us.
I mean,
I
that's not really
am.
an answer, but I'm here with Tim Baker.
Tim Baker is here. I am Daniel Brown. And we also have a very special guest, Chao Kwan, the chief scientist for ContentBox.1. Thanks for joining us. How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. How you guys? How you guys doing?
Oh, we are doing great. We're going to have a blast. ContentBox, well, actually, I'm not even going to explain it because I'm sure our friend here could do way better. Would you mind telling us all about ContentBox, or at least just starting with what is it?
Okay, so ContentBox is a blockchain project that aims to bring the latest blockchain technology into the digital content industry. So so think about the content industry, which has some problem we find. First of all,
I agree.
just a little bit. So let's say you are like a content producer, right? So whether it's
That's
podcast,
me.
radio, whatever it is. So I think a lot of producers they spend a lot of time, valuable time and efforts, but they usually don't directly benefit from financially. So we want to provide a way for producers to better monetize the content. And also on the reverse side, for the user and consumer of this content, they also like spend a lot of time and efforts. Let's say you are YouTube, you are like a viewer, you comment, you share, you like, you flag content, you spend a lot of time over there, but all the
And you
value
never
is
make
not.
any money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes you get some upvotes, but that's pretty much about it. So this is the most two major problems we want to see if there's anything we can improve based on the
Hey,
token mechanism.
I definitely understand that problem. It's something we have to deal with right here on the show because we are content creators, digital
Yeah,
content
yeah,
creators, and we are currently on YouTube. And I've said many times on the show that I'm not a huge fan of YouTube, and I've for a long time I've considered alternatives, and I'm glad that there are people working on them with
yeah,
blockchain.
yeah.
So the next question I would have to ask is just how does it work? Like what what happens to the content? What does the blockchain have to do with it? How does this all go down?
So before I mention that, we have a strategic partner, which is called kind of like our sister company called the Castbox. Basically,
Okay.
Castbox is actually the biggest cross-platform podcast app in the world. So we now have about 16 million users in about 175 countries, and it's still growing super fast. So I think the CEO of our sister company is also the CEO for this blockchain, like a spin up.
Okay.
So we want to, you're asking like, how would, how would this project help, let's say, the digital content industry? So you can think about, we can leverage the token systems and integrate into the industry. So let's say, for example, you are like hosting this show, and let's say it goes viral, and let's say even you got 1 million user views, and then we can, I mean, the easiest case, we can just reward proportional to the number of views you have, because the basic idea is the more the more users that want to look at your content, that means it brings more value into the ecosystem. So we want to reward those contributions proportionally. And also on the reverse side, let's say if you are like a user, you spend a lot of your valuable time curating this content. You can also, based on some algorithm, we can also reward your tokens. I think this is only the starting point. I think the even some new fresh ideas we are going to try out, which I don't think anybody has tried out yet, including, let's say, So for your content, right? So a lot of times the content producers, they have a time to get funding for his to create his content. Let's say he wants to create a documentary or even
Yeah.
like a mini video or whatever it is. But usually those kind of activities are not covered by the traditional VCs. So we want to do some kind of micro financing, or even you can
Okay.
call it kind of like a Kickstarter mini
Right.
ICO,
Right.
but for it's not for a big project or a startup, but it's only to produce certain type of content. Let's say if you want to produce a documentary, you say to your fans, okay, I'm going to create this. I need I don't know 1,000 ethers. Can you yeah, this is my kind of like a white paper. This is what I'm going to do about it, and then and also not only fans can contribute, but also they because they have the tokens, so they're also entitled to certain rights of this piece of IP, intellectual property for this produced content. So if this, let's say, if this show after it's produced, it goes viral and attracts a lot of like ads revenue or whatever it is, or get used by some other big studios. So all the profits will be bounded by this smart contract and distributed to all the token holders as well. Kind of like
Okay, so
dividend.
that's then what whenever you say that you're going to reward people who like the people who help, or maybe you didn't say this exact. I think I actually read it on the website. But you mentioned like they're not rewarded for content curation. Is that what you're talking about then? Where if you do like podcasts, ask people all the time, like even if you're not going to even if you're not going to like donate money or something like that, probably the best thing you can do is like either share it, tell somebody about it.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is to reward people who actually go out and do that if the thing does succeed, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think maybe I want to be more clear on this one. Basically, there are two types of contribution that a regular user can have. So first of all, you first type is you just engage with the ecosystem and provide your time and effort. Let's say you share, you can sometimes you just simply listen, and also you comment, you like, right? This is one type. For this type, you don't need any kind of investment other than your time. So you
Right.
can
Right.
the system we have a like rewards pool, token pools. So based on your proportional contribution, you will be awarded with these new box tokens. And the second application I'm talking about is like a financing for some content production. So for this to happen, you need some you need to for a user or contributor, you need to provide the the creator you need to offer your own tokens. It's kind of like an ICO.
So
It's like a smaller scale for content.
I want to ask. I love all of this. Again for years on this show, I've liked the idea of curated paid curation. We've talked about what if you got paid a penny every time you clicked a like on Facebook,
Yeah.
and ideas like that. So I love the idea. One thing I want to know is kind of what the landscape is for this kind of project, because we've seen similar stuff like there's Steam It, which is
Yes.
monetized social media, and they have DTube, which is similar idea for
Yeah.
video, and I'm sure there's others. There's Yours
Of
Network and
course.
Y'all's Network. So I'm just curious, what are how do you relate to the competition? Are you different? Are you better? How does that work?
I think I've used all this service, YouTube, Steemit, yours. I've used all of them, and
Okay.
my understanding, I think our biggest difference, I would say, is we have a huge existing user base, so we don't have to start from scratch. I think from any blockchain system, because it's a network effect that actually eventually matters. So the number of users who use within this network, that's the most important criteria, right? So instead of building a new system and trying to get everybody on board from zero user to one user to, we already have a big pool of users, 16 million users. So we can tap into the existing user base and then instantly scale from there. Does this make
Cool.
sense?
Yeah, that
So
sounds
I
good. I
think
mean,
for all the previous ones, due to I don't know how many users they have, maybe I don't know, like 100,000 something. I think the estimate last time I checked was like around 500,000. And yours, I don't know, maybe like I think yeah, only a couple weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago, I met Ryan Charles in Hong Kong. He said there's around like 20,000 people using it. So we are
got it.
like a different magnitude of scale.
Yeah, that's big. If you have an existing platform, which you said was Castbox, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
that's
have 16 million users instantly. So we just launched our crypto wallet, and then like people start using it.
yeah. So speaking of launch, like what's the status? What all have you done, and what's coming up in the future on the roadmap?
Okay, so we started around January this year, and we finished the we just we finished the white paper, the private sale action. We just hit our hard cap of 30,000 ETH. It was all sold out and was like pretty crowded, I would say. And then we also at the same time we finished our ERC20 token wallet. And if you download our app, which I strongly encourage you guys to do, so if you use Castbox, you download the app. It's already you can tap. You have a My Wallet function here, so you can
Got it. So that's
tap and
already
spend
in the
whatever
Castbox
you want.
app.
So that's I was think kind of like a small step. Step one. Step two is for us to integrate the full functionality of tokens into this system, as I mentioned, right? For curation, for production, and also you can like a yours, right? You can tip. Tipping is another function. So we want to finish this basic token system within like a couple months. We move very fast.
Okay.
So next step will be we're even looking at because for now Ethereum is pretty the kind of the default system to build on, and as this token mechanism get more integrated into our app, I would imagine the transactions emitting from our platform will be huge. So think about millions of users, everybody listen like few day per day. So I don't think that in the long term, the Ethereum is the solution unless it scales like overnight. So we are also looking at some other public blockchains that can support
Okay.
this kind of traffic and also with low transaction fees. We are talking about actually actively engage with some of the blockchain projects out there like EOS
Okay.
or Zilliqa or even Thunder, if you guys heard about it. So
Okay.
that's another step to scale this out. And also in the long term, we are only so once we iron out with this podcast, this specific type of content, we are also trying to branch out to to scale to other types of content, like let's say YouTube videos, right, or music, because as far as the technology is concerned, I think this is not dependent on specific type of content.
Well, it
Yeah.
should be
Hey,
able to apply to most. Yeah.
Say that
Sorry.
again.
if I
It should be able to apply like it can take whatever the whole thing
Yeah,
isn't depending on forcing content one way or the other. It's just kind of
yeah, yeah.
just a new way of spreading it. But sorry, Daniel.
so I was gonna say, you know, a lot of people argue about altcoins and ICOs or whatever. We don't have to get into that discussion, but if you're looking for other options, I'm just going to throw my 2 cents at the Lightning Network, just because it's Bitcoin. That's I
Okay.
I have nothing against altcoins, but it's just a lot when there's all these
Yes,
different
that's another
coins, and I don't know which
point to
ones to
look
get
at.
involved in.
Yes, yes, agree. We're not,
So
the good thing about this is not, we are not tied to a specific underlying blockchain. So as long as the lower level can support this kind of traffic, we can just switch to the best one. I think BTC has the first mover advantage. If it supports token at any time, yeah, that's another good option to go.
So yeah, I agree. So just to clarify, you said it's in the CastBox app. There already is a wallet tab that. Okay, cool. I probably will check that out anytime because I also got to make sure see if our podcast is on there and get it on there if it's not.
Yeah,
So
I can if it's like a Bitcoin, we also have because now we are trying to transition into we want to be the flagship podcast app for the whole crypto industry. So we also have this big giant called blockchain. If you can, I don't know if you guys can see
okay,
this.
yeah, a
We
whole
promote it on,
category for it.
yeah, we promote this for free on the homepage. So if you guys have some podcasts you guys want to feature, I will just try to promote it on the
Got it.
homepage as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. Hey, this has been a blast. Thanks for joining us. Hey, can you give people one more time what they should be doing right now to check you out? What website should they go to? Twitter handle, remind them of the app. What should they be doing right now?
Okay, yeah, I would definitely welcome everybody to go to our website called ContentBox.one, and also try our sister company's podcast great app called CastBox. So also you can find all those kind of contact information on our official website. And I would love to everybody to download the Castbox and try out our crypto wallet and give us feedbacks. That would be great.
Awesome.
Especially if you are like in the content industry. So if you're like a producer, I think we want to stay engaged to see what kind of like a real problems that you guys can think maybe using blockchain or especially Bitcoin technology can benefit you guys. You know, maybe either is get rid of the middleman, is like a low fee transaction payment, whatever you guys face real issues, you can also let us know. We try to, I mean, the end of the day, we try to solve real problem faced by real producers out there or users of the content. So just give us feedback. Also join the Telegram to stay up to date all the latest tech news from us, and we can, try
All
to
right.
form a good
Mm.
community moving this
Yeah.
project forward.
Check them out, guys. Let them at least, yeah, go see what they're doing. If you are, like you said, if you are making something, which it seems like more and more people are, like it seems like more today than like 10 years ago. You have people who are like, oh, I do a podcast, or obviously not a podcast, but like, oh, I write stuff, or I do something
Yeah,
that
everything.
creative, because we just have too much time anymore. So if you're doing something creative, go check them out.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, thanks a lot for joining us. I wish you the best. I'll be keeping an eye on it because, like I said, it's a real problem that I have been dealing with as a content creator. So I'll be watching. Thanks a lot. We're gonna roll on with
Thank
the
you
show.
guys, and
Peace out.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
enjoy the rest of the day. All right.
You
Bye.
too. You too. So, to all you listeners, I'm going to drop a reminder here to check out our landing page for tonight. If you want to chat with us, hang out with us, drop a comment, a question, or whatever. First thing I got to do is get my screen share right. Try not to mess that one up. This is you, me, and BTC.com/live. We have live BTC trading already with us in the chat. And he said that the audio was a little quiet. I know that I boosted it as much as I could in the Hangout, but it is what it is. It is what it is. He was wearing AirPods. For anyone listening to the audio, he was wearing AirPods. So I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at Apple I'm just going to blame them. Whatever.
Well, you just like doing that.
I do a lot.
Excuse. I think I kind of fucked up right at the beginning, but I might bring it up later. Because I never did get to ask him the question, because it was like right as he started on, I was like, I literally, because you didn't see he was there. I'm almost absolutely sure that whenever I was like, that's a stupid name, he like jumped on right then, and I was like, fuck. But I was, if he is still listening, I was referencing like just .1. I don't think I've seen that before. I mean, I'm sure it's not that uncommon, but I meant to ask him why they use that. Do you have any idea why is it just like that's going to be cheaper than
I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to see what's at contentbox.1. Or I mean .com. Maybe it was just taken.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure something was taken. Yeah.
But hey, but I am genuinely, seriously interested in this kind of project. So thanks for tuning in and listening to that, how it all works. I for several months now, I've been a couple times, I've mentioned it to you guys. If any of you know, I've tweeted about it recently. If any of you know any good ways to do this, there's another competitor is Library that I could have mentioned, and there's more. There's just monetized digital content. If any of you know good solutions, let me know, because again, it's just a real problem that we face. I don't like YouTube. They disabled our monetization. It's just not something I want to deal with. I saw a tweet the other day where somebody's own, I forget who it was. It's some well-known like viral video, but like other people were like registering his audio with the copyright, whatever firms, I don't even know. And so he was getting copyright strikes for his own content because other people were registering his content as theirs. Anyway, it's a mess. I hate YouTube. I hate Google. So let me know if you know of alternatives. Anyway, this is the landing page, youmeandbtc.com/live. We got Charles Wiseman in the chat as well. Thanks for joining us. What are your thoughts? This is him speaking. What are your thoughts on the What Would Satoshi Say survey? I think it's a unique way to view the entire crypto landscape. Dead honest, I haven't seen it. So maybe if I get a free second here, I'll look it up and let you know.
I say he's kind of pissed. If it is one guy who just kind of like did all that, and then he just finds everybody just like, we're gonna buy Lambos, everybody. We're just gonna be great. Like if it was one guy that was that fucking dedicated and that like, I just need to make free money, I think he'd probably get pissed off, but maybe not.
I mean, I don't even know what you're talking about now.
Satoshi, like what he would think of. I'm guessing he would mean just I haven't seen it either, but like I think he's talking about to gauge, because like people do talk about Bitcoin a lot. They talk about it maybe being
and the one true vision of Satoshi.
Yeah, and just like how good Bitcoin is doing. It's like, well, that's kind of subjective. We can't, because we don't like to go off of the price. So I think that is actually an interesting way to do it, is if it is one person or maybe even a group of people, from where they started, from what their idea was, if they even had one, or if maybe it was just a project and it's kind of turned into this whole big thing. Like if they saw this podcast, I feel like they'd just be like, fuck these guys. What? Fuck off. Just use it to buy things online that aren't supposed to. But I might be wrong about that. I don't think he would be on crypto Twitter. He might though. He might like really.
Oh yeah, you would. Retweet. He loved the forums.
Well, yeah, but he'd already be doing it though if he loved it.
I don't know.
Twitter, because I think there is something different between forum style stuff and Twitter. It's just too accessible. I don't know. That was me trying to make something out of that because I thought it was interesting. Thank you, Charles, for making me not have to think. Do you need to do that?
I'm still trying to just plug our our landing page.
I'm sorry.
I haven't even gotten past the chat yet. You, me, and btc.com/live. We will look into that, Charles, if we get some time towards the end of the show. Live BTC Trading says library works, but not a lot of content, which is a very common problem. I mean, that's the same way y'all's is, yours, network, whatever. And that's maybe, possibly what ContentBox could solve. If they really do access these 16 million listeners, users, that could happen. Anyway, show notes, links to ContentBox, and we're going to talk about Vladimir Putin for some of the rest of the show. So that'll be fun. He said some interesting stuff, and I think he was surprisingly right. So all of that is coming up momentarily. We also got our poll at the bottom, which is also about Vladimir Putin. Let me flip on my screen share one more time so we can take a look at that. The question is, well, it's kind of a quote. It's like a paraphrased quote from Vladimir Putin. And it says, we'll get into all this momentarily, but it says, cryptocurrency by definition cannot be owned by a centralized state. since it goes beyond borders. And my question is, do you think he understands Bitcoin? Yes, he gets it. That's option 1. Option 2 is no, it's just rhetoric. Or option 3, Putin on the Ritz. So jump in, leave us your vote. I'd love to know if you. I seriously would love to know if you think he understands crypto or not. Guys, we'll be back in about 30 seconds and get into Putin, just like I said. One moment, please. Hey guys, today's show is brought to you by Chronologic.network. Chronologic is an Ethereum-based project that aims to solve time-related problems on the blockchain. Through Chronologic's 3 core products, the Ethereum alarm clock, debt smart contracts, and the day token minting mechanism, they solve the problems of payment scheduling, crypto loan time constraints, and unstable token launches. Find out more at Chronologic.network. And we are back. Thanks for joining us again. It is time to cover Putin, because what else? What could be more fun on a Thursday night? Serious question. I don't know.
I'm just still mad about the Putin on the Ritz thing. It's kind of bothering me.
Well, then, Tim, if you refuse to vote for that, that means you must have said he gets it, or that it's just rhetoric.
Well,
so do you mind sharing what your answer to the poll is?
As usual, it's probably both. That's how I need to go. But I don't know that he necessarily gets it, but I feel like just the way the Russian government kind of pushes itself to the people and to the rest of the world, they do have a little bit less of a like I don't know why I think this. It's probably because I've never lived there, but I feel like they have a little bit more of a yeah, the government's kind of fucking corrupt. We're going to be kind of open about it, but then we're also kind of like, yeah, I mean, if you can get around it, sure, we might fuck you up, but sure, like they'll admit that Bitcoin isn't just going to get stopped or it can't just be controlled by some laws. At least that seems more in keeping with what he's done in the past. I have no basis for that. I'm just going to say that, put that out there. For as far as rhetoric, like I was saying, I don't think he necessarily understands it. I feel like just his advisors, maybe I don't know, because that's like such a weird like nation over there to see like do they have people doing stuff as far as like intelligence and hacking and all, like everyone wants to talk about Russian hackers and everything, but aren't they like way behind us, or wouldn't they be, or are they at the same kind of level of understanding? Because I don't know why, like obviously
are you being racist right now? Are you just saying all Russians are stupid? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I'm trying to say like, because they had like the country fall apart in the 90s. And I was listening to something recently about just this is what made me start thinking about it. There's a Russian like super mob, and like just basically the mafia is just kind of at this point so entrenched with the government and so kind of deep inside of it that I don't know, like that doesn't seem like the way our country has gone. Our country has gotten rid of the mafia and kind of just added the corporations to everything, which I feel like brings in more money. And that's why I was saying, like, are we further along in our understanding of like blockchain or the internet and all this different stuff? Are we further along from them, that the Russians are just like, yeah, no, I mean, what can we do besides like we can trace it to your door and get it, but we don't have anything to actually just like block it. I mean, the US government doesn't have that as far as we know. That'd be something that could possibly happen. I mean, you have people worry about that, but all that to say, I think the Russian government is a little bit more, they're just a different style kind of just from the US, and they might even be doing this just to be different from the US and be like, well, we're freer for that, because that I don't know like what exactly they'll all do as far as I don't know. This is why I just need to go to Russia. Or we need somebody from Russia in the chat to tell me I'm stupid and that actually they're way worse than us here. But it seems like they're not as bullshitty. I think they leave that more like apparently the church has come back in a big way there. So I think like the church takes care of a lot of like well, you're not allowed to do that. Like that kind of takes it over a little bit where again in the US we've like there's less and less church involvement with stuff. So the government has kind of taken on more of a, well, we're going to be your parents and tell you exactly what you can and can't do. Whereas Russia, whether it's because of the collapse or whether it's because the like organized crime is so entrenched there, illegitimate organized crime. Like I shouldn't really, it's not like corporations are that much better than organized crime as far as what they do, but it seems almost freer in that sense, or at least the attitude there is less, well, the government's going to fix everything. As long as we can get the government to regulate Bitcoin, it'll be fine. And then nobody will ever do anything bad with it. And it'll just be great. Versus, I think like we've talked about it plenty of times before where Russia has gone back and forth on Bitcoin, right? Or has that always been China?
Yeah. Well, both. That's why it's hard to even talk about stuff like this because these stories come out all the time. They're like, China loves Bitcoin. China bans Bitcoin. China is considering allowing Bitcoin. China regulates Bitcoin miners. It's like, okay, guys, calm down. But yeah, so it's hard to know, and that's why it's fun to talk about it. That's why it makes good podcast content, because we can just argue about it all day long and nobody can ever prove us right or wrong.
That's the best
but
part, yes.
We should, before we go too much farther, let me just get a little more context here and read that quote again from, or paraphrase, whatever. So the idea here is that Putin does an annual, he calls it a direct line. It's basically an AMA, but of course the questions are curated because everyone has questions for him. But he did get 3 cryptocurrency questions, and here they are. Will Russia have its own cryptocurrency? Will it be controlled by the government? Do you think that in the near future, cryptocurrency will completely replace our regular standard money? And this article from Cointelegraph says Putin answered the first by explaining that Russia cannot have its own cryptocurrency, as cryptocurrency by definition cannot be owned by a centralized state since it goes beyond borders. Now, like I said, we could argue about this all day long, and it might be good, it might be bad, but regardless of what any of it means, I think that he is surprisingly and you know, incredibly dead on about that. For him to admit that he can't have his own cryptocurrency because that would be centralized, and crypto, real true crypto, goes beyond borders. I think that's dead right. So I'm going to give him some kudos for that. I mean, would you agree?
I wouldn't be as like proud of him as much as
it's
just
rhetoric.
Like, well,
is that your answer then?
That was the thing where I was like, it's both, because at the same time, like he doesn't really say that much. Like, what is he gonna say? We're gonna do it and we're gonna regulate it completely, and then 2 months later, we're like, yeah, how's that work? And he's like, well, not so well. we shot a couple journalists, but besides that, no.
Happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we don't do it. That's yeah, I don't like the rhetoric. I just don't buy it necessarily. It being like a genuine, I don't know why I said it like that. Respect for it, as much as the less I can kind of say about this, because who knows what kind of money is maybe being made in Russia with Bitcoin. Who knows what any of this stuff. So I think they like to kind of stay vague. This is going completely against what I just said before, where I'm like, they're being honest and everything. At the same time, he's not really saying that much. He's just going, oh yeah, like if it's like the whole point, it's in the name. Like that's part of what annoys me whenever people do talk about, like, most people who I hear say it don't use cryptocurrency in it. They'll just say one of those coin things, and if they're using it for a government. But like the whole point of cryptocurrency is the decentralized part, and most people don't really think about that. It's kind of just a word you just say now. So that's why I was saying, like, he does have the right lingo down. Like, it isn't just the U.S. paper just for the 17th time. But Bitcoin is dead. It dropped this much. He's just, oh, we don't know, and we'll keep it that way. But maybe, because then he goes on to say about how they don't. Where does it say? They don't regulate it, but they treat it very carefully, or something like that.
Yeah. Which, hey,
What does that
another
mean?
article, another article that I considered covering tonight, so we can a little bit, was where Warren Buffett and the old Jamie Dimon, the whatever Chase CEO or whatever, some executive for Chase Bank, those two were on CNBC together, which is hilarious in the first place because CNBC is a joke these days. It's a great joke, but it's a joke. But then they had Warren Buffett and Jamie Dimon, and they asked, like, what are your thoughts on cryptocurrency? Which one of you hates it more? And the reason it relates to Putin's comment, where Putin says they're treating it carefully, is because Jamie, who a couple months ago, he vowed never to say anything about Bitcoin again. That's how bad it was. He didn't care about it. He was never going to say anything. And then he broke that vow a week later. So on CNBC, he just said, I'm not going to say much, just proceed carefully, or something along those lines. So that's just like on this show, where all we ever say is, yeah, kind of, sort of, just be careful, I guess. Could be good, could be bad, could be, yeah, just be careful. That's what they do too. So we must be doing something right. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem though, is hopefully, I mean, it seems like hopefully, like, things work out, like we've continued to exist, the world kind of keeps getting better, but it doesn't, it is hopefully, and it's nice, but it's like it doesn't come about the way you think it is. Like, that's what I was saying about, like, there being
what doesn't come about
good things. I'm taking this back to the whole thing about, like, Putin sounding like he's for it, but it like, you would prefer the guy to say it like that, because then maybe more people get involved, more people go, oh, okay, maybe, like, this is something you can check out. But at the same time, he does leave it open where if they do have a problem with you, they can just kind of do something, probably. Like, I don't know what it's like, but I'm sure they're just as good at kind of just drumming up, especially when it comes to currency, charges against people if they need to. So don't, I guess if you are listening to this show and you're from Russia, that's all I'm meaning, is don't start wearing your Bitcoin stuff outside yet. Don't wear any t-shirts, don't wear any hats, keep them up in your house. Besides that, you guys should stay safe. If you guys really want to help.
Speaking of Putin, I'm going to randomly just plug John Oliver here, and Last Week Tonight. He's a flaming liberal. Like, he's an idiot. All his conclusions are just like, we need to give more money to Planned Parenthood or whatever. The flooding insurance people don't have enough funding or regulation or whatever. So he's an idiot, but I still love him. I watch most of his episodes, and he did one on Putin. So it was funny. That's all I was going to say. It's hilarious. Find some really, really weird and obnoxious pictures of Putin and make some good jokes about him. So there's that.
I hate that man so much.
Oh, it's so funny though.
I hate even just the look of him with his dumb British teeth.
Yeah, he's British.
Oh,
and he's like,
why it's 2017, you fuck.
Yeah, I mean, his conclusions are all wrong, but we have live BTC trading in the chat says he does good. He's good info and he's funny, and I would agree with that. He does good research. He just did a cryptocurrency episode just a month or two ago, and you know what? No, I probably shouldn't play it because YouTube will get mad at me. But
don't you play him on this show?
Yeah, and I'll have to find it and everything too. Set up my audio, so forget it. But it did make me laugh because towards the beginning of his cryptocurrency episode, he's like, let's say let's say there is this guy in your office who would just not shut up about Bitcoin, because every office has one of these guys, okay? Let's just say, let's call him Dan, all right? And that is presumably me in my office. So that's why I thought it was funny. I was hooked. Anyway, yeah, live BTC trading, he gets it. Anyway, anything else about Putin, Tim? Putin on the Ritz? What else we got here? I'll read another paragraph or two. In regards to cryptocurrency as a form of payment like money, Putin noted that although experts say Japan has partially adopted crypto as payment, quote, it doesn't work in other countries, end quote, specifying, quote, the relationship of the central bank of the Russian Federation to cryptocurrency is that it considers cryptocurrency neither a means of payment nor a store of value. Cryptocurrency is not backed by anything. One should treat it cautiously, carefully. And hey, this is another great parallel with the Jamie Dimon and Warren Buffett story, because they also said the same kind of thing. I think Buffett said more of this. Maybe they both did, but something like Bitcoin doesn't create anything. It's an asset that doesn't produce anything. So it just like in this case, Putin says it's not backed by anything. And I still love Bitcoin, but that's a valid thing to talk about, to think about, to think through is, yeah, wait, Bitcoin doesn't produce anything, or does it, right? That's why you got to talk about it, because you could say it produces privacy, it produces cross-border transactions or enables them and stuff like that. So that's a conversation worth having. Like I've got some sympathy there for Dimon and Buffett to say, you know, compared to like a company that's building cars, like, okay, they're producing something. So yes, I want that asset because it will produce value. But with crypto, it's like you have to ask the question, wait, what value is it producing? And you got to answer that question if you're going to be invested in it. So that's, I understand where they're coming from, is all I'm saying.
Is that part of it? Like, just as a thought exercise, is that part of it? Would that be true also for investing in the internet at the very beginning, like whenever everything did start to blow up there? Because it's like, I don't.
What does it produce?
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that part of just the reason why, because I was trying to think, because you were making that point about your understanding them, and I was like, no, fuck them. I don't. And then I'm like, well, actually, yeah, if you think about it, that makes sense. And I'm trying to think, is the whole idea of it just being an emergent technology, is that's like the best selling point for it, is just the idea, and every day maybe it builds the value of trust or what, just developing, or just like, because we are kind of learning with it, like it's a kind of evolving thing.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things you have to ask, and the internet bubble is a great comparison, because it did collapse and cause issues. And I think that I was very young when all this went down, so don't quote me on much here, but still it's a, like you said, a thought experiment, a worthwhile story to tell. It sounds to me like with the internet bubble, yeah, that yes, the internet was producing things. Of course it was. It was whatever. I mean, I think all these .coms and websites selling things, and yeah, of course, the internet had a purpose. It was getting things done, you know, and then eventually social media came along. But whatever the purpose was, the internet was accomplishing, or you could say producing, all kinds of things, all kinds of value, all kinds of services. The problem with the internet bubble is that the amount that it was producing did not come anywhere close, nowhere near what people were dumping into it, all the money that people were throwing at pets.com or whatever else. Like, that's my understanding, is that, yeah, of course the internet was producing stuff, but it was not ready. It was not good enough to produce the equivalent of all the money that people were chucking into it. And the reason I think that's an important comparison, an important thing to bring up, is because if you're not careful, we'll use that term, the same one that Putin and Diamond used. If you're not careful, that is exactly where you will end up with crypto. And that's exactly where a lot of people have ended up with crypto. With all these ICOs, all these altcoins, there are people just shoveling money into altcoins. It's not even funny. And the vast majority of them, yeah, crypto is producing things. It's producing privacy. It might be able to monetize your hot beats, your music tracks, or whatever. It's certainly producing things, but the question is it producing a value that is the same or more as the amount of money that's getting shoveled into all these ICOs? I think the answer is definitely not. It's not producing that much value, at least not for most of the ICOs. For crypto in general, obviously, I think it's revolutionary and it will produce a ton. But I'll say the same thing. Be careful.
I mean, I do have to agree with you as far as it's not like the amount of output is not equal to how much people just throw at it.
Right.
But I mean, one, it is a new technology, but I think that's just like how the economy works too. Like maybe not. I'm just thinking of like ours. Like you think, however many businesses fail, and I don't know how they judge that. Like if it ever closes or if it lasts more than 5 years. But I don't know. I don't even know the percentage of businesses that close. But they say that most of them do. And same thing with this. If we're developing new things or looking at altcoins, throwing a bunch of money at it and a bunch of people failing and a bunch of people losing their livelihoods and a bunch of people just having awful problems that come from this does seem like that's how things get made better a lot of times. So you need that. It's scary whenever you think about it, because then you go, well, this could go bad very quickly because we're well, but that's like that's what has to happen to make it better. And
first of all, I just learned that I can lean back in this chair and I'm still perfectly in frame and the mic even reaches me. So this is incredible. I feel great right now. Second of all, you're right. It is scary. And as much as I hate to agree with Diamond, like you can't say it enough. You got to be careful. And we do say it all the time on this show. We constantly remind people how ICOs are really, 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 really hard to trust. It's hard to know which ones are going to work out. We say that almost every episode. So, yeah, so that's that. You're right. It is scary. There are going to be real consequences for people that throw money at things that aren't doing anything or that aren't producing anything. Fortunately, I think you can avoid most of that scariness, most of that risk. This is just my opinion. I'm not an expert. I could be totally wrong. But as far as I'm concerned, I can avoid a fair amount of that risk by sticking with Bitcoin. I know a ton of people argue about maximalism and altcoins and Ethereum's the best or whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, Bitcoin just seems like it's already accomplished things. It's still producing things. It works. People use it. It's around. So as far as I'm concerned, that's way less scary. Now, maybe that's bad because I'm not taking any risk, which means I can't gain so much. That's true. Like you got to take risks in order to make, giant gains. So so be it. But the point is, I like Bitcoin. The point is, I like Bitcoin, and I tend to stick with Bitcoin a fair amount. And I think that even though it's less risky, even though I'm kind of taking the safe route here, I still think it has an extremely long way to go. So I still think there is room for big gains. That's all I'm saying. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not anything ever. Please, no one ever think that I'm anything ever, because I'm not. So
yes, you are, Daniel. You are everything to somebody.
I was thinking in the world
today, to everybody.
We were joking last week because we were talking about the GDPR, and we were saying, like, if I had a privacy, I would just say, or if I had a privacy policy, I would just say, you cannot trust me. anything you tell me, I can tell anyone else. If you give me your email address, I will sell it. Like, just that then it's way simpler. No one is fooled. No one has to worry about, oh, am I allowed to do this? Am I not allowed to do this? No, it's right there in the policy. I'm allowed to do anything I want with any information you give me. So that is my privacy policy officially, seriously. But I was thinking, like, if only it was legal for other people to do that. Like, can you imagine if, like, you looked at a Coke can and it says, we have no idea what's in here. It might kill you. Like, you are totally trusting that we did not put rat poison in here. So have fun. Crack it open if you want to. Like, that would be great, because then everyone would know, as they should know, that when they open a can of Coke, it could kill them.
Daniel,
like, why?
Those words mean something because there's a government that makes sure that all those things run up.
Yeah, right, you're right.
That's even a good point. I just got, okay, I had an argument with somebody a while ago because it was something that wasn't regulated by the FDA online. It was that Kratom got something with a bunch of salmonella or something in the stuff. And he was like, see, this is why, because the FDA doesn't run it, this happens. This past week, I got my parents got a call because the pharmacy called them. I hadn't been buying the stuff because I got it from Costco for cheaper because our pharmacy industry's fucked. But there was a report of glass in an intranasal spray bottle, just like glass.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, how do you do that? First off, but it's like, just because you buy it from a good place, just because you do anything, that is no guarantee. No more than just but nobody wants to think that. Everybody wants to go, no, but as long as I get hurt or something like that. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's people going, if I get hurt, I get to sue and get a lot of money. It doesn't seem like that. It seems like people legitimately think if they go into a gas station, like GetGo, they'll be like, no, I'm not good. This will all be fine completely. If I get sick at all, this is bullshit. Like, you fucking, like, any place you go in, I think we're kind of lost that whole just, like, I'm responsible for myself, or maybe I should more, but like, I'll get fucked over someplace, or they'll like forget something, or it'll be like bad food. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is probably on me. Like, it is probably just me being lazy, but like, I rarely go back or like return things. I'm just like, I don't really care. Like, it's not the end of maybe it's a problem, but I like your point that, yeah, it's like, because it's not going to change stuff. It would just be so that they could not have to deal with frivolous lawsuits. And then people are like, why can't they hire more people? Why can't they pay their workers more? It's because the workers try to sue them all the goddamn time. And I understand, like nobody understands. It doesn't seem like nobody understands money. Like, people are just like, well, they make too much money. What does that mean? Like, how you want to just buy stuff for another like $10? Because we're not talking like a little bit of an increase if we start like running things, as they would say, ethically. Like, things would skyrocket in price. The only thing that's letting us buy all this stuff is the fact that they do just like pay their workers like a little bit, and then a lot of the work's done out of the country. I mean, that's a completely separate thing, so I'm sorry for that. But all that to say, the FDA isn't going to save you.
I totally agree. We're going to do advice of the week in a moment here, and maybe that's Tim's. I don't know. We'll find out. Before we do, I just want to give another grand thank you to our sponsor, chronologic.network. And sure, we'll throw out a reminder here. Be careful what you do with your money, because just like on that ideal Coke can that would say, this could kill you. Okay, well, be careful what you do with your money. But despite that, we are extremely grateful to chronologic.network for literally making this show possible. They allow us, originally, when they first started, they first made it possible for us to do 2 shows a week. We are now up to 4 shows a week, and some really angry birds that try to kill each other. So this show couldn't be any more fun. But no, seriously, chronologic.network has been incredibly good to us. We encourage you to just check them out. That is their website, chronologic.network. They do debt smart contracts and temporal innovation on Ethereum. That means all kinds of time-related innovation tools, whatever smart contracts, all of that on Ethereum. They have an Ethereum alarm clock. They have ways to make token launches work smoothly because, as we all know, token launches often everyone's hyped up about them. They sell out in 14 milliseconds or whatever. But because of this fancy time innovation, they can make those run more smoothly. They also have their token called the Day Token, which is appropriately named because it's all about time. So check it out, chronologic.network. Like I said, always be careful with your money, but they genuinely do make this show possible, and that's why we'd like you to have a look. All right, advice of the week, guys. Well, Tim, it's only me and you today.
Yes, it is.
Are you ready? What do you got for me?
Well, first off, tell Chronologic that you got to them from us and that you would have never even thought to think of them until you heard about them on us. But besides that, I think I had something to say to Daniel about something. Oh, no, I wanted to thank also advice to thank Live Bitcoin Trading for backing up what I said just without any facts, just kind of hoping that someone would help me. And as far as advice of the week,
well, he said you got to tell people that don't know what he said. He said, according to Bloomberg, 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs who start businesses fail within the first 18 months. A whopping 80% crash and burn.
I'm trying to get people to look at the chat, Daniel.
Oh yeah, do that, guys. Well, seriously, it is worth reminding people. If you're just listening to the audio, hey, come see these birds fight, all right? And bet some money on which one's going to win. Yeah. So if you want to watch the video, it's you, me, and BTC.com. And well, every week it's /live. We'll get you to the most recent one. If you want to get to this one in particular, it's you, me, and BTC.com /E245. That stands for episode 245. And obviously that works for any episode with any number. Also, you can check out this cool painting that I made. So I still got to get the silk toad back here. I keep forgetting to put him back up on the wall. So we'll get around to that. But anyway.
Everything will work out in the end.
Yeah.
Don't.
So did we get your advice yet? I forget. Probably not. All right, here's mine. I know what mine is. Be careful. Plain and simple. I hate James Dimon, Warren Buffett. I don't really care about. Vladimir Putin, probably kind of an idiot. But being careful, can't go wrong with that. So that's my advice.
I love you sitting in your chair next to your birds that are like bitching at you. It's like, fucking fade us. And you're like, I don't give a shit if you're Putin or any of these fuckers. You ain't nothing right now, bitch. You ain't nothing. I'm in my chair. I'm leaned back. I figured out my arm extends.
Yeah, this is great. I'm going to do this every episode now. I mean,
find something that makes you as happy as Daniel was whenever he figured out he could lean back in his mic. Do something fun. Create something so then you can go on people's websites and try to pimp it at people, which that's what you should be doing with your life at this point. Like, just try to sell. Like, if you have an idea, if you can just create stuff, like that seems like the best kind of life.
Oh yeah,
so
monetize social media. If you can get paid for clicking a like button, you could do all right.
Yeah, so go make something. It's probably going to be shitty for the first like million times. I'm still stuck in the middle of that probably.
I did see another project called Choon, CHOON, which is trying to monetize in the same way they're trying to monetize playlist creation. So with Spotify, you can make your own playlists and share them or collaborate on them. And they're basically saying that if people subscribe to your podcast, you'll make a little bit of money. And every time they listen to songs in your not your podcast, your playlist. Every time someone listens to songs in your playlist that you create, that you curate, you'll get a little bit of money. I think that's kind of cool. So I'm also going to be looking into Choon because they also are going to be taking podcasts. But anyway, like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm genuinely curious and interested in those kind of solutions. I haven't found any that I love yet, but I am always looking for them. Someone in the chat, Charles, again, I believe, said to check out DLive, which might be related to DTube, which is related to Steam. I don't know, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking up DLive, because one of the reasons Library reached out to us and said, hey, you could put all your videos on Library, but they didn't have live streaming. So maybe DLive is a solution. I'm going to be looking into all that. Tweet me if you have any further ideas or whatever at you, me, and BTC. I would love if the solution involved Lightning Network. I don't think that's there yet, but I would love that, because I'd rather just work with Bitcoin than have to get involved in more cryptos. But anyway, point is, I'm looking into all that. Let me know if you have any thoughts or ideas. I think it's time to wrap. Is that right, Tim?
Yep. Get those birds off camera before you actually get arrested for this. We're definitely getting demonetized now. But yeah, no, say bye to the birds. Say bye to everybody else, the cretins that live around your dwelling. But yeah, no, have fun. Go make something. Be expressive, because it's good for you, maybe.
Do it. And hey, like I said, if you're listening to the podcast, head to you, me, and BTC.com. You can find all our videos or more podcasts, because like I said, we're up to 4 shows a week thanks to chronologic.network. Peace out, guys. It's been a blast. We will see you next Thursday live from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And, I guess a couple of our shows have been on break, vacation, or wwhatever. But at the very least, Tim's pretty consistent. So check out probably Tim's 2 cents.
Yeah, I got nothing better to do but ran into the microphone for a half hour for you people. So give me some goddamn money.
All right. Peace out, guys. We love you.
Bye. Thank you.